Hey everyone, it's Grady from SUBOVERLAND, and in this video I'll be going over a axle seal replacement on this 2014 Chevy Suburban. Let's get right into it. And I'll introduce you to Trey here. So this is Trey making his debut on the channel. Trey's a great mechanic that helps out from time to time, and he'll be doing most of the talking on this video. I'll be filming, so here we go.
Okay, so we have a half-ton Suburban here, 1500, that had a leaking axle seal. Wet right there, so we had to take this is what's called a semi-float axle. The axle shaft right here. Set that down. Goes in that housing like that. Spawns into the differential. And the axle bearing that's right up in that housing rides right here on the axle shaft. Seal rides right here. It's not real common for those seals to start leaking, but occasionally you get one like this with high miles that starts leaking. So we're going to knock this seal out. Sometimes I'll just use that axle shaft when I'm taking it out. Pull the axle shaft out and you can kind of hang it on that seal and pop it out. This one I couldn't get it to go. So there's the seal.
And I'll mention here, before we started the job, obviously we took off brake pads and rotors to expose everything, and then you pop off the cover on the pumpkin, and then in here we had where the axles go in, there is a C-clip.
There's the C-clip. There's that's center pin or cross shaft or spider gear pin. There's a lot of different names for it. It goes in the housing. And then this bolt goes through there to hold that pin in. Got the new seal here. I like to put it on here first before I drive it in there. Just make sure that it is the right fit. That looks good. Hear the change in the tone, you can tell that it's in there. Do a little oil on that seal. Careful not to damage the seal going back in. Splines engaged. That's in. Now we can put the C-clip back in. Pull that axle in a little bit.
So once you get those C-clips in, they slide in, and then you pull the axle back outward to seat them properly. Now, if the axles aren't pulled out far enough, this pin we're about to put in is not going to seat, and it will not, but it's going to slide right on in there. Now for
Got
this
a new
little
bolt
guy,
here.
what is this, like an 8mm?
8mm
This tiny little thing, 8mm socket, so you just screw that in there and that keeps that pin in.
So we were just talking about the difference in semi-float and full float. Half-ton 1500s have a semi-float. Saw us put the axle in, and there's a axle bearing on the end of this housing. And the whole weight of the vehicle sits on that bearing, which essentially rides on that shaft, wheel bolted here. So if that axle shaft was to break, you could lose the axle. That's where a full float 3/4 ton axle is heavier duty, because the axle shaft doesn't hold the weight of the vehicle. You've got 8 bolts on the end of the axle shaft. It comes out, and then you've got a hub here that has an inner and an outer tapered bearing that holds the weight of the vehicle. The axle housing has a spindle that sticks out that hub and the bearings ride on, and those 2 bearings carry the weight of the vehicle versus the semi-float holding all of the weight of the vehicle.
So that's the end of the video. I know I didn't get a ton of footage there at the end there, but sorry about that. And yes, full float versus semi-float. Hopefully Trey, you guys understood what he was saying there. That's a good explanation of it. These jobs, they're not too hard or anything, but it's definitely something that needed to be done. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. We'd love to have you here, and we'll catch you on the next video.